Hey Junction Cardinals, my name is Dr. Dandoy. I'm the superintendent of the Turner School District. I'm excited to read a little bit to you a pumpkin story. I'm going to be reading the epilogue today. Here we go. Ashley slowly backed up her SUV to the barn at the Twist of Fate. Deacon walked across the lawn to meet her, and Ashley's mom followed closely behind him. She had been watching Deacon while Ashley made a special trip by herself to the animal hospital. Deacon didn't know it, but two passengers were waiting in the back of the car. He was going to lose his mind when he saw exactly who they were. Ashley put the car in park, then opened her door. If only I can get to the trunk before Deacon sees, she thought. Too late. The spunky toddler ran up to the SUV and peeked into the back window. He spotted her immediately. "It's Pumpkin," he yelled. Deacon could barely contain his excitement. Talk about a surprise. Ashley opened the trunk. She picked up Pumpkin and sat her down gently on her legs, which were now strong enough to support her all on their own. Deacon immediately wrapped his arms around the furry dwarf pony. The two little friends were reunited at last. As they hugged, Ashley set Thea down in front of the barn. The mama horse had started making loud noises the second they pulled into the driveway. Ashley realized Thea was calling out to the other horses. She knew she was home, and she was happy. It was the end of March, and Ashley couldn't believe the scene unfolding before her eyes. Pumpkin and Thea were finally home, and Pumpkin was walking without braces and without metal plates in her legs. Her tail had grown so long that the veterinarian had given it a fresh trim. She looked like a new, more grown-up version of Pumpkin. What a long road it had been. Ashley was really relieved that the surgeries were over, and she was so proud of the progress Pumpkin had made and thankful for the quality of care the little foal had received. Ashley had been given strict instructions by the animal hospital on how to best care for Pumpkin. The miniature horse was allowed to have one 10-minute walk each day, and she needed physical therapy in the morning and afternoon, a series of stretches the veterinarian called passive range of motion exercises. Ashley learned how to bend and flex Pumpkin's joints in the way they were supposed to bend. Pumpkin would lie down during these exercises, and the movements helped her feel more comfortable. Pumpkin also needed pain relief medication 3 times a day. It was to make sure she was pain-free as she continued to heal. The little foal had been through so much. It had been 10 long months since Pumpkin's first surgery, but overall, Pumpkin was doing fantastic. Everything had been worth it. The braces, the surgery, the extended hospital stay. Pumpkin could now live a happy horse life. And she wasn't the only one feeling great. Thea was running around like a maniac. It was as though she had to get out all of her energy after months and months of staying in the animal hospital. Pumpkin couldn't believe it. They really were home. And to top it all off, she got to see the little boy again. That was the best part. He visited her every day while the nice lady stretched her legs. He was always by her side, petting her gently to make sure she felt okay. And she had missed him so much. She was lucky to have him and the nice lady back. They went on walks together, no shoes or socks needed. And there were so many animal friends who would say hi along the way. Her mom was really happy too. She had seemed very worried for so long, and now that they were home, she could relax a bit and have some fun. That was nice. For their daily walk, Ashley held Thea's lead rope and led her outside. Pumpkin trotted behind, and Deacon was always right next to Pumpkin, with his arm resting on his furry friend's back. They were inseparable. They would spend more time together than apart if they had their own way. As the troop passed the field, Willow, a white horse with brown spots, was the first to rush up and say hello. Thea loved all the horses at Twist of Fate, but she was probably most excited to see Willow. Before Pumpkin's surgeries, Willow used to run across the field and peek her head over the fence when the little horse family walked by. Now she was doing it again, and it was like everything was back to normal. There was one thing that was different, though. Pumpkin and Thea had returned to the barn they once lived in, but now some new neighbors lived inside with them. 3 little lambs, some goats, Peppa the pot-bellied pig, and most important, Cumber. Cumber slept in the pen right next to Pumpkin's and Thea's. It had only been a week, but Cumber was curious about the new arrivals. Who was this? Another small horse? and a small horse mama? Cumber had barely seen another horse that was his own size. It was amazing. Deacon seemed to really like the kid horse. He'd visited her every day since she got here. He said her name was Pumpkin. She had pretty hair, but where were her shoes? Where did she come from? She seemed nice. Maybe they could be friends. Ashley was quick to introduce the three tiny horses to one another. Ever since she had rescued Cumber, she had been waiting for this moment. Pumpkin and Cumber seemed very interested and sniffed each other a lot. They didn't try to bite each other at all. For a horse introduction, that was a really good sign, even if it was only for a couple of minutes. Thea, on the other hand, went into protective mother mode. She wasn't used to having other horses around Pumpkin. She still wanted to keep her baby safe from any harm, even from another baby horse. But if everything went to Ashley's plan, Thea would act as a mother figure to Cumber when she warmed up to him. He had been without a mother for so long now, and Ashley wanted nothing more than for him to join a herd. Cumber deserved to have friends his own size who could care for him and keep him company. Maybe it would take Thea a little bit longer than Pumpkin to get used to the new foal, but Ashley was hopeful that the three of them would make a great family someday. There was one thing that was clear at Ashley's sanctuary. With a lot of love, a lot of hope, and a lot of time, anything could happen. Even when things didn't go according to plan, determination and patience would always lead her on an exciting new journey. Ashley, Deacon, Pumpkin, Thea, and Cumber had found one another against all odds. Their paths had somehow joined, and they'd overcome the impossible together. It was fate. They were meant to be together. Thank you, Cardinals.